I want to be clear on something when it comes to the Carolina Panthers and how I believe they set their, ready for this, blueprint towards winning for the rest of the year. And the reason why I'm saying I want to be clear, I'm breaking it down, is because I don't think it's changed. I don't want to have one 448-yard passing game, which they had against the Falcons, and suddenly think you are like a run-and-shoot offense. I still believe the bread and butter of this team is running the football. But what they showed signs of life against Atlanta as far as having is they need that counter. They need that plan B. I still don't think you make your plan B, the passing game, your plan A, but you're just more confident that if a team sells out to stop Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard in relief and that running game and that offensive line, if they sell out to stop it, you have an answer, which gives you like the devilish smirk. Right? If I'm Bryce Young, I'm not anticipating going out there and throwing for high volume against the Niners if I don't have to. But I do have the devilish smirk on my face when I get out there for the first drive and I see run blitzes and I see safeties creeping down and I see guys in the box, meaning a loaded run defense. If I'm seeing that, I'm going like, all right, you think we don't have it? We got it. Right? And that does not change how you start the game. I still think you give the ball to Rico and you make them prove that they can stop it. Because if they can't, great. Right? Get the clock rolling, pick up first downs, and go back to asking Bryce to pick up, a crucial third or fourth down here or there. Right? The maybe an end zone fade to Tepper or McMillan if you're feeling froggy. Like do those sorts of things, but lean on the run game until they prove they can stop it. And if they don't prove they can stop it, keep it rolling. I don't think their blueprint, again, here in the Panthers paw print, I should call it a paw print. I don't think it changes based on the Falcons game. I think it's just the first time the kind of the order of operations worked. I was just watching the other day Sully, the movie, the Tom Hanks movie, about the Captain Sullenberger who landed the plane on the Hudson. And they do, again, with my expertise of having watched one movie, right? When things start going wrong on a plane, the pilots have that little checklist, right? Try this, turn this BPU, and turn this, press this button, and change this monitor, and try to reset this. And it's all in a little list, right? And if one doesn't work, you just go to the next. And if that doesn't work, you just go to the next. And if that doesn't, that's kind of how I look at the Panthers' offense working, right? You start with the run game. And if that doesn't work, maybe you try a little outside run because they're so dedicated inside the tackles. If that doesn't work, okay, now maybe you move to some play action. If that doesn't work, okay, maybe you move to some straight drop back. If that doesn't work, maybe you, trick plays. Like there's got to be an order of operations. And the issue for the first part of the season was if the first thing didn't work, they kind of just put their palms to the sky and went, oh, well. Right? If the first thing if the run game didn't dominate, they kind of went, well, we don't trust Bryce, so what are we going to do? Against the Falcons, they went to the second deal, and it worked. So I don't want to see the second deal become the first deal against the Niners, especially because, Fred Warner's hurt, right? They've had some injuries to their defensive front with the Niners, and you might be able to control the tempo a bit with your running game. And as Dennis said earlier, sometimes your best defense is an offense that keeps the other team's offense off the field. If you can have some long sustained drives, if you can shorten the game, if you can keep Kyle Shanahan from getting in a play calling rhythm, if you can do those things, it probably gives you your best chance to win. And make no mistake about it, right? I've talked a lot tonight about Monday Night Football, all these eyeballs, right? The entire football-watching world will be spotlit right onto your game. Like, all of that exists. It doesn't have to be aesthetically pleasing. The Niners are respected enough as roster builders and kind of, just perennial contenders that if you beat them by an inch or a mile, everybody's going to give you a lot of credit. And then all of a sudden you're a division leader, right? Because if you win, you're the outright division leader with a couple of pretty good wins as far as Green Bay, the Niners, right? You start packing on some of these quote unquote good wins. Your reputation will change. And now maybe you can do some intimidating. Now maybe you can be the bully rather than the bullied, which we haven't seen in a long time. I was thinking about this, and it's not the right way to think about it, but there's just so much conversation of these two things going on. If the NFL had something like the college football playoff and the college football playoff committee, where right, you didn't have the division structure, you didn't have records, right? So it's like this team better than that team. If they have the same record, this is the tiebreaker. If you didn't have that, if you just had people in a room that had to pick the quote unquote best teams, I still don't think the Panthers are being anywhere near chosen to be a top 7 team in the NFC and get a playoff spot.
No.
Right? They're still seen as, even with a record better than a lot of teams, as, well, you know, the good wins and the bad losses, right? We'd be complaining. They feel like an ACC team, right? Where they're just not going to get the benefits of any. Well, they're an NFC South, and there's not really a lot of competition there. Yeah, maybe if they win their conference championship, we'll consider it. Like, that's where they are. So in the same way, how do you fix that? Right? They feel a bit. I don't even know if this is. They feel a bit Georgia Tech-ish right now, where you know they got some wins, don't get me wrong, but they also have some weird losses, and the only way Georgia Tech's going to convince anybody that they're deserving is if they beat Georgia, right? Like you got to go put it on the field at some point in time. The Panthers are good. They're 6-5. They're tied atop the division. They have a negative point differential. They have some weird bad losses. You beat the Niners, that's a pretty good rebuttal, right? Get that good win. Get that top line of the resume. And then here's one more point to pay attention to. And we do have Monday Sound Off coming up. We're going to open up the phone lines here in just a couple minutes, so start getting your thoughts ready if you haven't done so already. Consider this as well. I was asked on social media by a few different people if this is the biggest Panther game since the Super Bowl with Cam Newton. I think that's a bit hyperbolic, but I don't think it's outlandish to say it's the biggest Panther game since maybe the playoffs in 2017. Right? Like I'm not going to put any regular season game over a playoff game.
No.
But since then, there haven't been a lot of games this late that matter, that have division implications and playoff implications.
I mean, I would think it was 2022. They were 6-9 going to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and if they had won that game, they had an outside chance of winning the division. But even so, that was with interim head coach Steve Wilkes and all that. But I will put this as a much higher stakes and game than, gosh, like you said, probably since the regular season of 2017 or 2018.
So here's my response to that. This is the biggest game Dave Canales has ever been a head coach for.
Oh, easily, I'd say.
The biggest game,
playoff game
he's ever been a head coach.
Yeah, sorry.
Head coach for. So, you know, just like your freshman quarterback going into an away game for the first time, and you need to like look in their eyes, and be like, maybe we should call a couple run plays to start it. You know what I mean? Like Dave Canales, he's gone for it on 4th down more than any team in the NFL coming into this week. 27 times he's gone for it on 4th down. This past week against Atlanta was the first time I saw him kind of stick to his guns and trust Bryce Young to make the plays that he needs to make in volume. There's been a bit more comfort in risk and trusting his gut than we've seen. I hope he continues, right? I hope that doesn't clam up because he knows rather than 4 million people watching, it's 20 million people or whatever the difference is between a regular game and a Monday night game. I want to see Dave Canales also learn some things about himself as a head coach.